Launching a debt fund sounds simple enough, right? Raise some money, lend it out, make returns. But if you don't set the structure up exactly right, legally, financially, and with investors' trust, that dream can collapse fast. So let's walk through how to build a fund that lasts and scales. I'm Tilden Moschetti, founder of Moschetti Syndication Law. I help fund managers and syndicators set up bulletproof structures that protects them legally and keeps their investors happy. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to know to build a debt fund the right way from the first dollar to your first distribution. When people hear debt fund, they usually imagine something complicated. But the concept itself is simple. You're raising money in order to lend it out. That's it. Instead of owning an asset like an apartment building, your fund acts more like a private bank, giving out loans to qualified borrowers. Your investors don't want speculative returns, they want predictable contractual income. And debt funds can lend into many spaces: real estate bridge loans, small business expansion, acquisition financing, even litigation finance. But knowing what a debt fund is naturally leads to the next question. How do you legally and structurally protect yourself while you're running it? Well, your first real step is building that entity that owns and operates the fund. Usually it's either an LLC, giving you tax flexibility and easy management, or a limited partnership, great for setting up clear manager versus investor roles. If you pick wrong and it's just not a tax headache, you could be personally liable if a borrower sues or if an investor feels misled. Choosing the right entity isn't glamorous, it won't impress your investors, but it's absolutely foundational for everything you're going to do next. Because once your legal shell is built, it's time to figure out how the money inside it will flow. If your entity is the house, your financial structure is the plumbing. You'll need to know what interest rate you're charging the borrowers. Is it fixed? Is it adjustable? Are you adding origination or servicing fees? How often are you paying distributions to your investors? Monthly, quarterly? And are you realistic about cash flow? Remember, borrowers might pay late. Investors don't like hearing, "Sorry, the check's late too." Planning your fees, your payouts, your reserve policies right now isn't just smart, it builds the system your investors will rely on later. And once the financial flow is designed, the next job is making sure you stay compliant while moving that money. So let's be crystal clear. When you're taking outside money, you're in securities law territory. Almost every debt fund will rely on Regulation D, usually 506B or 506C. 506B if you're raising privately through existing relationships, or 506C if you want to advertise to the world but only take in credited investors. Whichever path you pick, you must file your Form D with the SEC, handle state blue sky filings wherever your investors live. You see, compliance isn't an afterthought. It's the guardrails that keeps your fund alive. And part of compliance and building credibility is showing investors everything clearly before they write that first check. Here's where you set the tone for your fund, your documents. Your private placement memorandum, or PPM, spells out every risk, every fee, every promise you're making and not making. Your operating agreement explains how decisions get made. Good documents don't just protect you from lawsuits. They show investors that you are serious, that you are professional, and you know exactly what you're doing. Because once those documents are signed and investors come in, the real job starts: managing relationships. Investors don't just want returns, they want communication. So set expectations early. What payments to expect? How often updates will come? What happens if things don't go exactly to plan? Just be clear, be consistent, be transparent. Good returns build loyalty, but good communication builds something even more valuable: reputation. And speaking of protecting your reputation, nothing does that better than managing risk from day one. No loan is bulletproof. Borrowers default, markets shift, stuff happens. Smart managers keep conservative loan-to-value ratios, diversify across multiple borrowers, industries, and geographies. Have clear plans ready for loan workouts and recoveries. Risk management isn't what gets you the first investor check, but it's what keeps you from losing the next 10 investors. Which brings us to the most important lesson. Most mistakes aren't flashy. They're basic: using bad templates for legal documents, advertising improperly without choosing the right Reg D path, overpromising guaranteed returns, lax underwriting that brings in risky loans. When you're building a fund, it's easy to think you can clear things up later. Don't. Set it up right today, and you'll avoid massive headaches tomorrow. Debt funds aren't complicated, but getting them right requires you to build on solid foundations: legal, financial, and relational. If you want help setting up a debt fund that attracts investors, protects you, and grows the right way, reach out to us. I'm Tilden Moschetti. Thanks for joining me. Now go and build something that lasts.